Hi, long time no see. Today's menu, pot roast. I have a chuck roast, some garlic, mushrooms, onion, celery, baby carrots, Lipton onion soup mix. I've seasoned my beef with paprika, garlic, and black pepper and regular kosher salt. And I'm going to sear it in the pan. So let's get started. Okay, so let's turn on our oven. I've preset my regular oven to 450. We're gonna sear everything in this pan and we're gonna pop it all in the oven with all of the ingredients. So let's have some fun. I'm using about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. I wanna get a good sear on my meat before I place it into the oven. Have my handy dandy tongs. I'm using this pot because it's slightly shallow. I know that once I get everything in here, I may be a little tight on space, but I want everything to cook and marry together. So as this heats, I'm gonna go get my bottle of wine that we're gonna use to deglaze the pan before we add in our vegetables. As we've discussed a few times, you never want to cook with anything you wouldn't drink with. This is my J-Lor Cabernet Sauvignon. This is what we're going to cook with because this is what I drink. I'm waiting for the pan to get to a smoke point, so when I start seeing a little bit of smoke come off of it, that's when I'm going to go ahead and start my meat. You want to hear it sizzle when it hits the pan. So for my vegetables, I cut them a little larger than I would for normal meals, just because they're gonna cook in the oven for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, if not longer. So I wanna make sure that they have enough time to heat up or to break down and not disappear. So here's our first piece. And that is the sound you wanna hear. We're gonna sear it on all sides and we'll come right back when we go to put in the second piece. Okay, so I'm gonna actually flip this one piece. The reason why you wanna sear it is so that all the juices stay inside as it cooks, and it allows your meat not to dry out during the cooking process. You see that? That's a nice good crust. I also have a second pot that everything's gonna go into when it goes into the oven. This is a deeper pot, so everything will fit. You don't want to overcrowd your meat, especially when you're searing it, because you want it to get this nice crust to hold the juices in. And you're going to sear it on all 4 sides, or however many sides your cut happens to have. Okay, so now my piece of meat has been seared. I seared it on all 4 sides. So this is the bottom, this is the one side. I'm gonna transfer it into my pot. And to be honest, I'm gonna save this second piece of meat for a different day. It's gonna be too much meat in this pot and I'm only one person. I probably will take some to my mom, but again, that's still a lot of meat. Let's see. Okay, I went ahead and seared up the second piece. So I'll be adding this also to the pot. gonna take my vegetables, saute them up, so that way they pick up all the extra flavor from the meat. For the same reason that I left the vegetables, the carrots and celery, a little larger, just gonna dump baby carrots. Save yourself some prep time. This will also give you a little bit of texture when you're actually eating the food. Those little brown bits I'm not worried about. Those are the seasoning that came off into the oil. I want to make sure that it does have some flavor. So I'm gonna open my Lipton mix. I take 1 pack and I am going to pour that right in over the top of my meat. Stir the vegetables. And you don't want to really cook them down. You just want them to kind of pick up the extra flavor that was in the pan. As you see, they're picking up some of the seasoning that was stuck to the pan. And when your pan is nice and hot, it'll deglaze with your wine. If you make a mess like I just did, just grab a cleaning sponge and wipe down your area so that you don't have a huge mess to deal with later. Okay, so if you can see, there's maybe about 2 cups worth of wine in here. I'm gonna let it reduce down to about 1 cup, and then I'm gonna pour it over the vegetables. Excuse me, over the pot roast. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of vegetable stock. I can also add in my garlic. I like garlic. If you like garlic, add as much as you like, or as little as you like. I actually really like garlic. This is a pre-peeled garlic, which I like. Again, I'm not worried about it. I'm throwing out that garlic. All right. So we'll be back when I transfer everything into the one pot. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of thyme. I added some while I was off screen. So that makes it about 2 teaspoons. Again, what it smells like is what it's gonna taste like. So you want it to smell really good and hearty so that the taste is really deep and hearty. So with all my mirepoix all nice and coated, we're gonna pull our pot forward. I'm gonna dump everything on top. For the mushrooms, I'm gonna save them for maybe about 20 to 30 minutes before I feel that the pot roast is ready, because I want that to not break down. I want that to hold its shape. All the rest of these items can kind of break down into it. So I'm gonna lift it up just a touch to get some of this mirepoix under it. Oops. Again, if you make a mess, it's okay, it happens, we're human. Throw these away. And then anytime you're cooking anything, broth is better than water. Broth adds more flavor. So I'm gonna use some vegetable broth to top my pot roast. And that is gonna be about 2 cups. This is a 4-cup container. I used about half. Gonna make sure it's down in there. You can see that the broth is all the way up to the top. Again, I still have that packet of Lipton onion that was on there, so that should help add a little flavor. A ton of garlic, carrots, and celery and onion. So I'm gonna put a top on it, and we're gonna let it hang out. in the oven for, I'm going to start with 2 hours. And I'll put my timer on for 2 hours, and we'll see how it does after the 2 hours.